So what will you get from giving me 5 minutes of your time of watching me list my good habits? Well, if there's anything you take away from this, it's probably taking the time out, if you haven't already, to truly understand what serves you and your purpose or your values if you're still figuring out what your purpose is. And this ranges from the activities that you get involved in or who you spend your time and energy with. Before I get into it, a lot of you have actually said that I come across as a natural in front of the camera, and this is the power of editing, honey. I've included some bloopers at the end of the video, so watch right till the end to see me fail. Believe me, this does not come naturally to me. I am terrified of doing this. You don't actually have to be good at something from the get-go. Okay, so the first one is saying no. You don't have to show up to every brunch or work gathering. You don't have to take on that extra work opportunity. And you really don't have to hang out with people you don't want to. For me personally, for the longest time, I felt obliged to show up to social gatherings or take on opportunities that I later realised probably weren't for me. And this is both from a time and energy perspective, but also a financial perspective. Sometimes I've spent hundreds of pounds buying presents, attending birthdays for people that I actually don't really like. And I don't even spend that much money on myself. And that made me think, something needs to change. And you know, being in lockdown, I've now had the time to really think about, do my interactions with this person or group of people make me feel positive overall, or am I drained afterwards? Don't be afraid to let go of people that no longer align to what you're about. And I'm not saying you should surround yourself with people who are positive all the time or create an echo chamber of people who basically have the same thoughts as you, don't challenge your opinions, and you're all kind of the same person. That's not what I'm saying. You just need to know the balance, you know? Overall, if that interaction or that task is taking away from you more than you're getting back, that's probably a good sign that you need to let that shit go. And this leads me nicely onto the next habit, which is spending more time alone. While being forced into isolation has been difficult for so many people, including myself at times, this time has brought a lot of positives with it as well. I've been able to focus my time on projects that I really love, which otherwise probably would have collected dust in some random corner of my brain. I started a comic page, which I have made some amazing friends. Shout out to you. I started my own small, no, let's call it micro business, selling colouring pages. And I also started this channel. And this is just the tip of the iceberg of stuff that I've been exploring. And I really feel that this is because I've had the time to actually focus my energy on these things. And I'm not in any way advocating hyperproductivity. It's more about focusing on the things that bring you joy and actually figuring out what those things are. I was listening to a podcast a few weeks ago, and someone on there said, we spend a lot of time through the likes of social media knowing others, and we don't spend enough time knowing ourselves. We get quite caught up in scurrying around with no real outcome or benefit, and sometimes it's just good to, you know, mind your business and do you, boo. Okay, so the next one is being in nature. When restrictions were loosened a little bit over the summer, a lot of us had to think of more creative ways to spend our time because being indoors just wasn't it. I live in London, so how I'd normally spend my weekends would be going somewhere to shop, going somewhere for brunch, or agreeing to do an activity that I actually didn't really want to do, but I wanted to be there because of FOMO. Or again, hanging out with people I didn't really want to hang out with. This year, I did so much more outdoors, and it was so nice to get away from the humdrum of city life. If you live in a big city like me, it's easy to forget that there's actually a life outside of it, you know? So this one is a positive consequence of being forced into lockdown, and it's being more sustainable. Ultimately because we're consuming less. If I look through my budget for socializing, clothes, eating out prior to this panoramic, and now I look into my wardrobe and I hate everything. And this doesn't stop at clothes, it extends to everything like books, stationery, decorative items. You get the point here. And I'm not going to go on about sustainability here, but the environmental impact of the things we consume is actually evident if you look what's happening in the world right now. And to think I'd buy an entirely new outfit just for a dinner out kind of makes me feel a little bit sick. To me, this is actually unacceptable. And the fact that hauls are now common practice actually makes me feel a little bit uncomfortable. You know, now I really stop and think, does this thing bring me joy? Is this thing going to add value in my life? If not, why do I need it? More often than not, we're buying things to fill a void that needs to be addressed elsewhere. This year, I'm actually doing a no-buy year for clothes and perhaps books. And I think it'll be pretty easy. I mean, who am I kidding? It's going to be so hard. If you look on TikTok and Instagram, Zara are actually doing bits right now. And I honestly don't know if I can do it. But I'm going to try. So stick around to watch me fail. You know, we're pretty good at the thank you next life. And in my opinion, I think things will go back pretty much to normal in a short amount of time. And if this last year and a half has taught us anything, it's probably that life is fleeting. Nurture the relationships that actually mean something to you and let go of those that don't. And of course, spend more time doing things that you love. And this has been detrimental, or create an echo chamber of people. I was listening to a podcast a few weeks ago and to think I'd buy an entirely new outfit just for a dinner out kind of makes me feel a little bit sick.